All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 6:01 PM. It's the Ways and Means Committee meeting of Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. This meeting is being recorded by the Ways and Means Committee. If any other person present are doing the same, you must notify me at this time. All right. Hearing none. I'm going to do a roll call of members. Need my pen. Counselor Master Totero.
Here.
Counselor Garrett. Here. Counselor Perry.
Here.
Counselor Wondolowski. Not yet. And I'm Counselor Toronto. All right, we got the approval of minutes. There it is. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from February 20, 2024?
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion on that? All right, I'll do a, well, we don't have to do a roll call. This is nice. All in favor, approving minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No, there are not. All right, so we will open this to public comment. Is there anybody, I don't think here, but anybody online who would like to do public comment? You can raise your hand, put your name in the chat. Okay. Going once, going twice. And public comments over. No public hearings tonight. We got a motion. This is a lot of motions tonight. There's a page numbers are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got 7, but I got page 5.
Oh, what these? Thing, right?
Yeah, there was I don't have, in order to rescind, I have the second one, but not the first one, and that one says page 5.
That's wrong, because that's the minutes.
I know it is. Number 4 was minutes, right? So I think somehow this got
That is,
misprinted. Would you mind reading that, the rescinding of the, do you have that right there? Because I closed my computer because I thought I had the seat back.
okay. Order number FY 24-099. In order to rescind order FY 24-052, a transfer of $214,000 from water bond premiums to water principal. Moves that it be ordered, or pay down. Moves that it be ordered to rescind previous order FY 24-052, a transfer in the amount of $214,000 from water enterprise bond premiums, Fund 1627, to water principal pay downs, account number 6000710059991. Majority vote required.
Yep. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Just have a question.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten the financial order, the revised one yet. Is that correct? I don't think I saw it.
We have the first reading of it, should be on here. This is just a misplacement that of where it was coming from. I think it's just, we already did the first reading, I'm sorry, last full council meeting. I believe the second reading is tomorrow night. And we're also going to rescind this one. All right, is there anything else? All right, those in favor? Aye. And, oh, we have another participant. All right. Any opposed? All right. And then there's no one to abstain, so we're good. All right, next is a order number FY 24 1-100. Order rescind FY 24-053, a transfer of 145-155 from sewer bond premiums to sewer principal paydown. Move that it be ordered to rescind previous order FY 24-053, a transfer in the amount of 145-155 from sewer enterprise bond premiums, Fund 1627 to sewer principal paydowns account 60007100599991. Majority vote required. Same deal. These were just swapped on which accounts they're coming from, and now we've righted that ship. Any other discussion?
Do we need to?
All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? And there's no one to abstain. Right. Next, we have, these are 19 capital budget orders this year. Oh man, I was really gonna try to do these departmentally and they just,
All over.
they're all over the place, so I'm just gonna go right down the list. Sorry, folks. Order number FY 24-075, City Council in order to purchase 2024 Silverado 2500 HD regular cab. Moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of $70,000 for the purchase of a 2024 Silverado 2500 HD reg cab or equal equivalent, and to meet said appropriation, $70,000 be transferred from FY 24 free cash. The capital request from DPW for central maintenance to replace a very sad old truck.
Veteran.
I'm sure we'll all be real sad to see it go off the road.
Call it Big Red.
Big red.
You're not gonna get another red one, are you?
That was actually a hand me down from the fire department years ago. Wax red.
The red hubcaps are nice, wheel wells rather, a nice touch.
I guess just for, I'm gonna try to cross-reference this with what we did at Capital Committee, in comparison to what has been moved forward now. Hello, welcome. I'll just note that, Councilor Wondolowski is now in attendance. Wherever that went,
Are you taking minutes, Mike, or?
kind of.
All right.
Take notes.
Do it all.
He's operating the GB and everything.
Jack of all trades.
Multitasking. You were gonna explain the truck.
Right, if there are any questions on these, we have Director Warner here on these. We also, I kind of tried over cross-reference what we went through. We had presentations at Capital Improvement Committee, for all of these, and, a lot of what was recommended is here. There were a couple differences with, overall, I should just start by saying this. Overall, that, everything was pretty much in the same spot. We had moved some stuff around. I did realize that there was an omission by myself and Dee at the time when we were kind of totaling up things as we were going on throughout the night. We were trying to pocket where things were going free cash, things were going capital, things were going borrowing. And I totally missed that we left out $500,000 that was in the sewer, that I didn't realize was borrowing at the time as we were tallying. So what I noticed in some of the changes after it went to the mayor was that some things got moved over to capital, and that because of that, I'm presuming that's why they were moved, was because the amounts were actually a little different. But anyhow, that being said, this did get a unanimous positive recommendation from Capital Committee on the replacement of this vehicle. I guess before I said anything, that I should ask for a second.
This is the 1989 Silverado or the.
It's gonna be replaced by
Yeah,
Silverado. but it's-
exactly, yeah.
I would agree time is similar to it. They did.
Yeah, is there any other questions, discussion?
Just for my own kind of education as far as this, it's for the facilities manager, and I noticed it's got like a snowplow kit. Do they do like snow plowing and amongst their other duties?
So it's not gonna come with an actual plow system, but it's gonna have the prep package on it, so we can put a plow on it if we need to.
Okay. Is that typically what the facilities manager is doing, or it's just like if you need an extra truck, because it's like some big storm?
That's correct. With the fleet and how things are going, it's always good to have some sort of spare vehicle when we can do it. That's when it would be pulled in, the other breakdowns, so on and so forth.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long have you been in need? So have you asked for this truck before, or is this?
This is new this year.
Okay.
It's only because maintenance is beginning to really jump up this. Get us and parts are harder and harder to get. Yes, on the yes. My hope is that the costs on any of this equipment and trucks will hold. Because like we got these prices in November, and we all know how things are crazy right now, so. I was hit our number pretty good. I hope that, we'll have enough here.
That's on 10, right? That's on page 10, 'cause I keep moving back and forth.
Yeah, the page numbers are off a little bit, so it says 10 in here, it's 7 for me. I'm just gonna flip through.
That is 10.
We had a second, I think, to read.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions, discussion on this one?
Just kind of a more general question, but I see it's coming out of free cash.
Mhm.
What's the kind of rationale behind something, instead of it being borrowing, this being free cash, is because it's a durable good? Is there a reason that some are in each kind of slot of money?
I think the idea, I guess there's no real place in this to have like any kind of opening presentation on this, and I know I'm new as a chair, you guys are all new to this committee. When we were breaking this down, in capital, one of the first questions we asked was what's available? And what would be a reasonable amount to utilize borrowing? Obviously, you want to borrow last if possible. But you want to keep some things available as more readily available cash. So at the time, we were advised that according to our fiscal status now, 1.5 million in borrowing would be a good place to cap it off. There is at the time, there was 3 million available in capital stabilization. There was 435,000 free cash. I don't know if those are exact up-to-date numbers there. Do those sound, nothing's really moved much? Okay. So after the changes, I kind of compared what we had in each pocket. And like I said, I had that omission. But to give a round start figure for everything, where the totals of borrowing in these 19 orders is 1.490 million out of 1.5, which I said was kind of the suggested cap. Out of the 3 million capital stabilization, there's 1,022,000 allotted in these first orders. There were some that were deferred, I guess you'd say for now, they haven't been presented to us yet. They could be down the line. And then out of the 435,000 in free cash, 160,000 is to be projected to be utilized in these orders as well.
Quick follow-up on the borrowing. You mentioned that there was sewer money that you thought was enterprise funds was actually borrowing. Is that what?
So almost everything that was in sewer and water was out of retained earnings.
Okay.
Out of their enterprise fund. I didn't notice when we were jotting down our list. It's a very rudimentary list.
Yeah.
That the first order of that, which was $500,000 for I&I, was actually borrowing requests.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart. I think it's on page 9 on the PDF here. I printed it out because it seemed useful. And it's 990,000 in borrowing, but you just mentioned that 1.4, and it sounds like that could be the difference. That's sewer money versus.
Yes, I guess it would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so So this is minus 500,000.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have that chart, which is,
It's on page 9. Say,
page 9 is different.
sorry.
I just have another general question.
Mhm.
How do these amounts for next fiscal year compare to this fiscal year? So is it an increase in borrow, are we,
Compared to last year?
yeah,
I don't know if I can answer that. I believe it's a lot less borrowing than last year, a significant amount less than last year. The stabilization fund is pretty decent. And not wanting to spend it all down either right away, because again, things might come up. Same idea with free cash, we have till the end of fiscal to spend, or else then it turns over to general fund?
June 30th,
June 30th.
June 30th, and then it to be certified.
Great. So again, even though it's available, not always suggested to use it all. And there are some people, of course, who would be like, well, why are you borrowing anything if you have something available to you? But there is a lot of municipal finance.
I don't know, there's
That
a
of
debt
balancing it,
ratio, and I don't know where this falls in, and
right?
it's so not my expertise.
Yeah,
but-
so this is why it was asked ahead of time with what in our picture of health for the city, what would be a reasonable amount to borrow for the year without, making it harder on ourselves. And that also being known that we don't. We want to borrow in the parameters of what's suggested. You don't want to be totally zero because it doesn't help your rating, your credit.
I was gonna say you need to have some sort of borrowing.
Exactly.
So next year would be, assuming all things are equal, would it be a similar, like every year you're borrowing about $1.5 million? Or but it depends on the revenue.
Depends, yeah.
What other debt you have. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah, well, we've got revenue for that as well.
exactly. It's a moving target, but
This year.
this year, I think is a little bit less of a suggested amount, just due to the amount of borrowing that has happened. I think that would be fair statement.
Other capital.
Okay.
Right.
Do we need to vote on the?
But yeah. So that being said, like I said, it was a unanimous recommendation from capital. So yeah, if nothing else, all those in favor? And any opposed? Any abstain? Sure. It's here. Yep, it's the same, okay. So order number FY 24-076, City Council upon recommendation of the mayor, in order for Veterans Memorial Field House boiler demo and asbestos removal. Move that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 40 grand for Veterans Memorial Field House boiler and demo asbestos removal, and to meet said appropriation, 40,000 will be transferred from FY 24 free cash.
Second.
Third.
You got it, John, you got a second.
Has this already been done?
No. Boy, it was broken when you were playing baseball.
I think you do. Or
I assume it's mostly a safety issue now, right?
yeah, I kind of call it the Nightmare on Elm Street project. It reminds me of those movies, but
It's a terrible.
yeah, there's no reason for the asbestos to be there. There's asbestos between the sections of the boiler, so I got quotes to remove the boiler altogether, free up some room in there, and then also take care of the friable asbestos. Really got no business being there. It's in this day and age, so.
Who uses that building? I don't even know.
Basically the school department, the athletes and the different sports teams. Now this is quarantine from the actual locker room, but we gotta get it out of there.
All right, then Kids with asbestos is a good combo.
Okay.
The one thing I noticed about this when I was looking at the packet and the number kind of here is there's a bunch of documentation. I'm looking at the document, page 33 from September. And it mentions a contract sum of $17,775, but we have 40,000 budgeted. Is that just like an extreme contingency, or is that just like we're taking a guess on the price that it would be, or is it practice?
It's actually two projects in one.
Oh, okay.
A boiler removal, which is an undertaking in itself.
Okay.
It's like a 13-section boiler, 300 pounds per section. And the asbestos removal will go along with it. So I combined both. Why
I
not
see.
get it out of there, then the asbestos rope between the sections.
Got it. And that's why there's two different numbers. It's
Yes.
like 16, yeah. It's two, that's,
And capital committee gave a,
Unanimous positive for that one. I will, just for posterity's sake, this was just one of, one that we had at first, put into capital. I think that was that might have been the initial request. It was. And this has now been moved over to free cash, which is kind of in a swap because there's another one later that was free cash that got moved over to capital. So again, moving the numbers that we put forward and trying to make pockets. And then when the mayor reviews what was going on, certain things, like I said, were omitted, at least for now, and maybe further financial orders down the road. But of the ones that were there, I thought it was actually a pretty smart move to shift things that they were, because when we were looking at them, we're looking at, these are all the things we're saying, go ahead and do, because you're not setting a timeline in capital committee. You're just saying yay or nay for now as a recommendation for this fiscal year as a whole. Whereas when the mayor's looking at it, she's able to parse out a different look at it with timelines of where these may come up, depending on all the other city business that, is being covered. So I actually thought it was a good trade.
is this the kind of thing that could get grants, or being a environmental hazard?
We didn't actually look into grants. This kind of came on my radar in the last year. Realizing that it's been there a long time. And being that, we have the schools using the facility and whatnot. I thought it was just go time to get rid of that stuff and get it out of there in a hurry.
All right, anything else? And all right, all those in favor? And obviously nobody opposed, because we all said aye.
very dramatic. It's very great.
Better remove my series.
All right, so FY 24077. The city council upon recommendation of the mayor, in order for engineering design work for Main Street redesign project, move that it be ordered that the sum of $680,000 be appropriated for engineering and design work for the Main Street redesign project, and to meet said appropriation, the treasurer with the approval of the mayor is hereby authorized to borrow said sum of $680,000 pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 7, or any other enabling statute. The mayor is hereby authorized to apply for, contract for, accept, and expend any federal and/or state grants available for this project to be used to reduce the within appropriation. And further, the mayor is authorized to take any action necessary to carry out the intent and purpose of the project. 2/3 vote for this guy. So correct me if I'm wrong, but this was to finish up to get us to 50% design on this project?
This technically will give us 75 to 100.
75 to 1, okay.
This portion, yeah.
And what's the amount of once this is done, they're going to allot us?
So we're gonna have invested approximately $1 million in the engineering and design. So it's generally 10 to 14% of the project for engineering and design. So right now, we're estimated the project as we've gone through the public process and taken ideas and adjusted everything. It's estimated 10 to 13 million right now. the project as a whole.
And the city is responsible for,
The 1 million, it's under the Transportation Planning Organization down at the FERCog. The TIP, what we call Transportation Improvement Plan. The way these projects work is basically is the community pays engineering design, gets it 100% ready for the project to be done. Then it's rallied within the tip and whatnot to get the funding for the project. The project itself will be funded through Mass DOT, state funds and federal highway administration funds. So we pay $1 million, we're getting 10 to 13 million in return.
Good deal.
Like Wisdom Way, like Dashes Mill, guys, we're all familiar with those projects. We had 400,000 into Wisdom Way, we got a $3 million repair. So it's a long process, it's tedious, but it's a good way to go.
And it's all tied to complete streets design, right? Like that's kind of.
Yes. Everything out there is gonna have to meet Mass DOT and Federal Highway Administration protocol and what we call the Uniform Code Manual. So everything will be in today's standard when we get there. Or the standard that day when we get there, so.
Has the design plan been shared with folks yet? I went to one of the public meetings, but then didn't hear anything after that.
So a little bit about the process, I'll try and make it as short as I can. To get the 25% design, which we're just about there, we're just waiting on what we call the road safety audit to be completed. That is an audit that it's pretty in-depth, it sounds simple, but it involves public safety, a bunch of different stakeholders, a bunch of meetings with ideas and what they see, what we see. So they're completing the road safety audit now, meaning Fuss and O'Neill, our consultant firm. As soon as that's done, they can submit 25% design plans to Mass DOT. So when they do that, it could have 2, 3, 4 conceptuals of what ideas of what Main Street could be from, again, from the 2 public meetings we had and enveloping everything in and the studies and so on and so forth. Then Mass DOT, it's not a real fast process. It could be 4 or 5 months before we hear back on their, what we call the comment period. They'll come back, they may take one off each conceptual, they may take one design and they say, this is what we're gonna do, because they converse with the Federal Highway Administration. So we're in kind of a holding pattern right now. And once that goes off the Mass DOT, the way these projects work, we should go right into the additional design and engineering to keep the project moving. Otherwise, it gets put further and further out on the tip.
So we would appropriate it even if we don't kind of have all the pieces.
Yes, yes. And then, I have to say that once 25% design comment comes back, we've paid that money to the consultant firm. I think it was 350,000. There can be some minor changes, but not major changes. Otherwise, they're gonna come back to us for more money if there's major design changes that we want.
25% design is really closer.
It's really 50% in a regular project, but Mass DOT calls it 25% design submittal, so.
Just to make sure it's.
Yeah, and I don't like to confuse everybody. It's 25, but really 50, like a normal
Right.
project. So that was a good question. It is closer to 50%.
You need a second?
I do need a second, everyone. Thank you.
Second.
All right, thank you.
I know we're jumping all over.
I know it happens because it seems so much more informal. What's up?
It's helpful to have these questions answered though, like it's.
All right, this also received this is exactly as Capital Improvement Committee recommended as well, unanimously. Just for reference. And so all those in favor?
Aye.
And nobody to oppose. Right. Go on track here. Yeah, okay. Order number FY 24-078, City Council move that it be ordered to appropriate sum of 200,000 for the highway fund and to meet said appropriation. 200,000 be transferred from Fund 8402 Capital Stabilization.
This is basically, I'll second that. But this is just basically a money transfer, right?
Well, it's an appropriation, so we're saying that we're going to pay for this This is to supplement chapter 90 funds, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So supplement the road money we get. But this comes from our capital stabilization fund. So rather than, we're not borrowing it, it's not free cash, it's coming out of kind of what capital stabilization is intended for.
So you can do your paving, whatever else needs to.
Yeah, I started requesting this about 4 years ago. Just no, on a yearly basis, it's been appropriated. So what has happened is chapter 90 has been frozen for a good 15 years. We used to get 635,000, they call it a grant yearly from the state. And then 2 or 3 years ago, they backed it out to 621. They actually lowered it. And since 2013, costs have gone up 54%. And that's 54% less roadway we're maintaining because of that increase with the frozen money. So we started supplementing with the 200,000 to keep us up with our pavement management program that we have. To try and keep up with the roads and keep them at a certain percentage of goodness, if you will. That's the short story.
Yeah.
Again, I welcome any questions, but
Why has the cost of, it says HMA, is that like an asphalt mix basis?
hot mix asphalt.
Okay.
But catch basins, milling, all the labor that goes along with it is gone up half the prevailing wages.
There's not much. Yeah,
Everything's gone.
yeah, I know. I know there's not anything we can do about it, but it's just if you had any insight on why, those numbers have gone up so much,
Oil.
oil, yeah.
Doesn't help.
This is an in-place cost, so it includes all the labor for the other work that's why it's so much per ton.
Can I back up just a second?
Sure.
So I got your email
Mhm.
and I had asked them about the $35,000 for a roundabout. At what intersection?
Yeah.
And it's High Street in Maine. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure we have to do to add that, or I have an idea when we get to it, but.
To add to the financial order?
No. To get the $35,000 to phase C, right?
For the design to
I'm
add.
talking about for the newer stuff that just got brought up.
680 for.
Right.
Yes. And the conceptuals, one of the conceptuals, I'm assuming at this point, will have a roundabout at Main and High. There could be other roundabouts that recommend. I don't want to go out and say they're recommending one here or there or suggesting on those conceptual because I don't have them in hand. I really truly wish I had them by now, so I could share them, but.
For that public meeting, there was a lot of very loud noise against roundabouts.
I think at that intersection, it should be.
Oh, yeah,
a great
I
idea.
know.
I don't want to stray off topic here.
No, I mean, well, there's two things there that's, I think, a little bit ahead of the game.
Right,
Before we get anything from the state, and we also can't increase financial order.
okay.
So that would have to be a request from the executive. We could
Right.
request it per se, that it come to us at a later date. But we can't alter the
Right.
financial to improve the
Okay.
sum.
Is it, so there's gonna be a traffic study or I forgot the language you used, the safety study, basically.
Road safety audit, yes.
Maybe that will be a spot that's flagged if it's dangerous, and that might be an opportunity to, make the executive notices are dangerous.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, well, the road safety audit may say, we highly recommend
Right.
a rotary or something that resembles, a roundabout at Main and High. It might be something that resembles one. They could possibly come back and say, we do not recommend a roundabout at Main and Federal. So on and so forth, or a small one down by Coleraine Street at the end of the project. These are all unknowns to me, but I know Mass DOT, we know they enjoy their roundabouts these days.
It's like a merry-go-round.
Well, it slows traffic down.
It's
And,
It's a lot safer,
Yeah.
safer.
I'm sorry.
it's okay. Well, it's all right to get excited about future projects.
Yeah. Excited fellow.
I'm excited every day.
It's just like, I'm gonna throw you money.
That safety audit, what's the publication of that look like? Does it come out with the Main Street design? It just is like part of that package? Basically?
I should receive the final RSA when they submit 25%.
Okay.
And of course, once we have the information, we'll share it.
All right. So on the chapter 90 supplemental funds, all those in favor? Aye. All right.
As long as it paves a road.
I say aye too. I didn't say it out loud. Just in my head. Oh wait, it's on the back of this one. 310. Am I at 310? 310. All right, order number FY 24-079. The city council, upon recommendation of the mayor, in order for repairs to the Mill Street Bridge, move that it be ordered that the sum of $310,000 be appropriated for repairs to the Mill Street Bridge on River Street, the foot of Wisdom Way, and to meet said appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is hereby authorized to borrow said sum of $310,000 pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 7, or any other enabling statute, and the mayor is hereby authorized to apply for, contract for, accept, and expend any federal and/or state grants available for this project to be used to reduce the within appropriation. Further, the mayor is authorized to take any action necessary to carry out the intent and purpose of this project. So we're gonna just,
Second.
okay, thank you. Good job.
We can talk about it.
I mean, I know that Director Warner's here as well, but I'll let you know, this is part of a multiple couple things that are going together with the dam underneath the bridge and then the bridge. So these were recommended to be teamed kind of together because you don't want to try to do one and not the other, and then, yeah. So I'm just giving you a little foreshadowing of the next one that's gonna follow this as well.
And they may or may not fall together. It all depends. on
Right.
The contractor and the
Right.
process. So
That doesn't really matter though.
they both have to be done.
Right.
Yes.
Well, your photos make it look bad,
It
so.
does, yeah. And also the engineering documents are worth lots of.
I've actually been under that bridge fishing.
And then last year we
If I stay downstream of it.
If a chunk comes down on you.
Yeah,
we were appropriated the engineering design for the repairs of the bridge last year, and that was the result and the cost they came up with for the actual repairs. There was a lot of engineering that went to determine from Mass DOT's report on the bridge. So they investigate.
I have a question that's more related to the dam, so I can hold it if it's helpful, but it's, it's called the electric light and power dam. I'm assuming it's not generating electricity currently.
No, it's the Greenfield Electric and Light Power Dam is what it's called. Most people call it the Mill Street Dam. It's been called different things, but.
Is that feasible to have it? I used to live in Chicopee and we got electricity from the dams in the Chicopee River and our electricity was wicked cheap. I don't know how, I imagine it's going to be a substantial investment to get this thing running hydroelectrically, generating hydroelectric power. But if we have a dam there and I saw that it doesn't affect the fish because there's another dam downriver. So it's not like we're causing an issue with fish migration by having this thing operate. And having just sit idle doesn't seem as ideal as having it generate electricity, But again, I don't have any idea whatsoever about the feasibility of that. If the mechanics are still in there to actually turn a turbine or.
I don't believe so. I think it actually generated power for the building that's there.
Right.
The
Heritage
Yeah.
Museum, yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Attach a dynamo to it and then off we go, So,
There's also like a whole lot of dams throughout Massachusetts that are just not
right.
in use or repair that were set up hundreds.
Mills, yeah.
Well, not even for power. Some of them were just.
It's not a high hazard dam, but we can't remove it either because we have infrastructure up by Dunkin' Donuts that goes onto the river. And if we drop the water levels, they're gonna be exposing infrastructure and that turns into another whole
Okay.
project.
Mhm.
So
Favor of removing old dams.
But if we can't, can we generate electricity?
That's a big project.
I haven't looked into it to be honest.
There's fish issues.
Yeah, there was talk about the conservancy, Greenfield Conservancy, about looking for a grant to add a fish ladder there at one point. But I haven't heard anything on that in a couple of years.
I used to be on their board, so I'm happy to talk to them about it if you.
Maybe you got the wrong board, Haro, Haro. Alex is who you're communicating with on that. Yes, so yeah, I had the number. Sorry.
All right. That's it for this. All those in favor? Sorry.
And set.
Get there. I'll get there.
Dam next, right?
There it is. Order number FY 24-080. City Council upon recommendation of the mayor in order for repair design services, electric light and power dam, move that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 197,000 for repair design services for the electric light and power dam number MA 01326 and to meet said appropriation, 197,000 be transferred from Fund 8402 Capital Stabilization. Thank you. I foreshadowed that we would be doing these in sequence. This also got a positive recommendation from Capital Committee. Coming from the same place. Cap stabilization.
It looks like you're able to repurpose some funds from elsewhere.
There's like 55 and change or something
Yeah,
like that.
55,956 on some
Yeah.
change. It was all leftover small design monies from larger projects, and so we can purpose for the same purpose. So it brought the cost down a little bit. The total cost is 252,950, but repurposing would be 97 with money that's already been borrowed or already earmarked. Helps us with the 55,956.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Right, the third one of this is what we just talked about. Order number FY 24-081, City Council upon recommendation of the mayor in order to repurpose 55,956 and 63 cents for repair design services, electric light power dam. Moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 55,956 and 63 cents for repair design services, electric light and power dam, and to meet said appropriation, $55,956.68 be repurposed from the accounts detailed below. 4019.4990.5844 free cash Bascom Road Bridge Rails, $2,684.61. 4021.4990.5802 borrowed Sanderson Street Design, $35,020.02. 4021.4990.5852 borrowed Wisdom Way rights of way, $12,252. 4023.4990.5846 capital stabilization Mill Street Bridge engineering, $6,000.
So what's going on Sanderson Street?
It's completed.
So this is just.
Yeah, the project's completed.
Like I said, it was pretty nice. I was like, what's he gonna do, you know?
Well, some of that was engineering, construction
Right.
services that we didn't use. We were able to put one of our own staff members on it, engineering staff members, so there was some leftover monies there.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do all this. Yeah.
For the construction documents, they're like, they're gonna have 200 drums, like the big orange drum. Like that road is gonna be covered. Like you'll be able to get through that night.
I play 60. Yes, okay. Order number FY 24-082, City Council upon recommendation of the mayor in order for Legion Avenue parking lot resurfacing, moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 65,000 for the resurfacing of Legion Avenue parking lot and to meet said appropriation, 65,000 be transferred from Fund 8402 Capital Stabilization.
And then So what took so long with this one?
Us. I say that with one word, us.
Happy to respond.
This is a bee in my bonnet, if you will. I would really like to see this get paved personally. 2 years ago, it was a request for a part that used to be privately owned that got shot down. Fine. Last year, there was a little bit of confusion out there as to that this was now our property that we were trying to take care of. And that got shut down because I think people thought it was the same place. And it'll be, I know Milo will say the same thing, it'll be a lot more costly if we keep letting it go.
I was gonna say, someone's gonna sue the town for breaking an axle or something, the place is just, you know. you
Well,
can't-
just to repair it. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna mill and overlay it is what we call it now, but if we let that go another year or two, we're gonna have to full depth reclamation, that's gonna double.
So I don't think anybody who drives into that lot can say anything about, you know, we shouldn't do this.
It did increase almost 10,000 from last year.
Right.
Isn't there a building coming in there? Isn't there gonna be housing or something built in the Legion Avenue lot at some point?
Not that I know. Oh, no, the one, that would be, closer to the corner of, closer to the train tracks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like by Bonnie B's,
Yeah.
that little spot, yeah,
So that's where that's.
awesome lot.
I don't know, this picture, it doesn't look so bad.
Yeah.
Drive in there.
You need a worse picture.
I had a lot of them, maybe I put the wrong ones in.
It rains.
The pictures have been suitably horrifying, you know. it's-
After a snowstorm, we gotta go and attach the holes so nobody does get hurt. It's a constant maintenance.
Okay, so we can't get the cannabis people to pay for it, or?
It actually goes up and it butts their property, it doesn't include their one or two.
Well, that's to be in my bonnet, not to stray, but I'm good at that. You know, I believe that was what is now Patriot Care, that was Legion, was like a handshake agreement a couple of years ago, a few years ago, with, well, 2 mayors ago and, a real estate.
It's a different section, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the section that's newly paved, that was the questionable section I brought forth 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's all been taken care of. It's back in the owner's hands.
Right, but we paid for that.
And it's private parking. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
We also know people park in there and go use other things, you know.
Right.
Park in-
And there's like a year history that the city for a lot of time had meters on that
Right.
private lot and made funds on it, made money.
So we paid him back.
So, yes,
But this isn't that part.
this is strictly
Right.
our kiosk, our parking lot and stuff to be done.
All right. Vote.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
I,
And I saw all of you, so, and me as well. Thank you.
You raise both hands, Mike.
Hallelujah. Over there. All right, FY 20, order FY 24-083, city council bond recommendation to the mayor in order to purchase 2024 F550 to replace truck number 28, moves that it be ordered. The appropriate sum of 135,000 for the purchase of a 2024 F550 or equal equivalent to replace truck number 28 and to meet said appropriation, 135,000 be transferred from Fund 8402 Capital Stabilization.
Second.
So is this basically the same story as the first truck? It's got too much.
It's only-
I think this was cut last year at the mayor's level. I forget the year, I have it here somewhere.
2002.
2002, it's on like its fourth transmission. That's the second set of fenders you see that are rotting out on this thing. And I will say we have one small sanding vehicle or salting vehicle, and this is the vehicle. It's the only one of this size that can carry a 3-yard salt truck to get into the tight areas, the city facilities and so on and so forth. And also, we put a chip box on it in the summer and chip all of our trees and brush with the forestry.
I
So
think they're around.
it's a workhorse, but it keeps breaking back.
What do you do with the old ones when you get rid of them?
We used to, surplus them in the yard, but we're finding now for what's left of some of the vehicles, it's better off just taking whatever we get in trade rather than the staff and admin time to get somebody that bid $400 on something or, you know, and when we get $2,000 on a trade-in or something, they take it off our hands. They drop the new one off and take the other one with them. We're finding in most cases, it's easier to trade these.
Oh, sure, that's fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Given our commitment to, you know, lowering our carbon footprints, are you guys starting to look at electric vehicles for replacements? Is that?
Yeah, we've been looking at it, unfortunately, as of now, and in fact, I was touching base with Carol yearly. You know, they're using, trash trucks out in California, so on and so forth, but again, they're not real proven in hilly terrain, and may not make it through the day to get back to the transfer station with a full heavy load on them. This type of vehicle and pickup trucks as of now are not offered in electric. It's on the horizon. We all know.
I'm seeing more and more, you know, trucks and things.
Sedans are a good idea. I'm not sure if we're at the truck level yet.
Power's not
There's
there.
like the Rivian, there's a bunch of them.
I asked Carol as soon as she came back, she's having an eye, everything that we asked her to say. Hence to it, but what somebody just said, a lot of the bigger ones, sometimes they have a field, but she doesn't want to put anything into the fleet unless it's trusted, but you know, finally tested. But so we're on that, and she didn't have any, but these ones are already in process. A lot of the bigger ones, you know, she said, not right
Yeah,
now.
and
Paraphrase.
then the cost is like 3.5 times
Oh, I know.
sold right now. So I think we did get a price on Carol gave me a price on a trash truck, and I think it was $1.1 million or something like that. It was a crazy cost, so. But that'll come down like anything new. It'll hopefully the technology gets.
Hopefully less maintenance too, less moving parts. all
It's
that
a
electric
lot
engine.
less. Yeah.
So it lasts longer.
The thing with electric vehicles is those batteries are good for X amount of cycles. And people haven't gotten to there yet, but the battery replacements are
Yeah.
a huge chunk of money, and
It's a huge
there's a
battery.
recycling issue with those as well. So, I mean, it's
Put the mileage, how many mileage a year with a truck like that? Never mind, it's not that important, it's a lot of miles.
Well, it's diesel, so the hours, diesels are usually hours.
And just heavy load too.
Sure. And I remember looking at the hours meter and I can't remember.
That's all right. It's a lot.
30,000 in a DPW plow and sand truck is like, 120,000 plus homeowners.
Yep.
I guess is a good way of explaining it. Rough duty.
Is there, I noticed that the picture of the truck, and I just saw this now, is an F-450 and the new model will be an F-550. Is there a
Yes.
reason to increase? I'm assuming that's a large displacement engine and
It's a little bit larger vehicle. It's a heavier GVW to handle the sander and the loads better. It's more like 1.5 tons rather than a 1 ton, they call it. So we're gonna be able to, we can actually do small excavation projects with it too and load that truck as opposed to a big diesel 6-wheeler out there on the side of the road. And not only that, it'll handle the sander and it'll handle a little bit bigger plow. It can be more efficient. And not burning up transmissions.
Yeah, rather than maxing out the vehicle you have, you're getting something a little bigger that you can run at like 70%.
Any more discussion?
All right, all those in favor?
I
I as well.
You gonna ride in the trucks? We got rides in new truck.
You're right in the back.
We're gonna put you out there at 2 a.m. with a wing, and you can be the wingman with the wing hanging off the side of the wing truck.
there's no.
Hey. Sorry, they're in this order, Christie.
484.
City Council, order number FY 24084. City Council upon recommendation of the mayor in order for repaving the DPW yard, moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of $150,000 for rehabilitation of the paved lot at the Department of Public Works yard at 209 Wells Street, and to meet said appropriation, $150,000 be transferred from Fund 8402 Capital Stabilization. Yep.
How much won't get mad?
Sure.
I drove by it the other day and yeah, it's kind of bad, but is it really bad?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It,
Well, I just, there was,
yeah, these pictures were in the fall, but the winter we had with freeze thaw cycles and everything was what we call alligator block cracking. There was massive holes. We were trying to fill some of them today. And it's basically coming apart, as we call it in the industry.
I'm gonna foreshadow a little bit on here too. This is one of 3 requests. We had this happen last year with our
Yeah,
Or,
I was wondering, because I saw
side, what do
listings.
you call it? Side road mower? Roadside mower? Roadside mower? That was a hilarious conversation. You can go back and watch that one if you want. Anyway, yes, so this is a third of it. The other third is coming up from water retained, I believe, and from sewer retained.
Earnings.
yeah, those are, I'm thinking the cynical voter view by just saying the sounds so. I just want to put on the table, I'm just putting it out there for people, to consider. Some people are gonna say, what did the DPW need a parking lot pavement for? So I'm just putting that out there.
So the 3 listings are taking
Yes.
money to do the same paving project from 3 different places.
Yeah, it's splitting the total
Okay.
sum up among
So-
3 different
So the
departments.
public understands, so I understand, just
Right,
wanted to
right.
say it out loud.
It houses equipment, staff, so on and so forth in the water division, water retained earnings area and the sewer.
That's
Retained earnings.
justification.
So it's completely justified to split it 3 ways. And I swear I didn't do this intentionally, but 3 ways, because I watched you read. I had to go with what we.
I know,
afford out of it.
It's fine. It's a good way to spend the money.
$150,000 will be the total project cost, roughly. Let's say.
450, yeah.
Yeah.
Which from 2 years ago, it increased from 330.
It'd be free because you're the DPW and you're just doing your own lot.
Yeah,
That kind of all I do every part.
Yeah, right.
It is, it's gobsmackingly expensive too.
Yes.
Well, this has gone to the point where they have to come in with a full depth reclamation machine that pulverize everything.
And then totally start from scratch, basically.
Yeah, they actually make gravel, mix gravel in with broken up asphalt, pack it real well, and lay a whole new mat, we call 3-inch mat. How long would that take? Well, it's gonna be an interesting ballet with work going on every day with the
That's what
staff.
I'm asking, what are you gonna do? You gotta park up somewhere.
We're probably gonna break it in half. One half, will be a few days, and then the other half will be a few days, and then it'll probably come in and, pave it in two pieces. We're just not sure at this point because a lot of logistics with all the staff members
Sure.
and vehicles and
Yeah.
equipment on a daily basis.
Sure.
We've kind of hit on that a little bit. I don't know if this might be this.
I mean, to ask a lot of questions.
Nope.
But as far as, you get an impermeable surface like this, as far as runoff is concerned, is any of the design work on this considering like, hey, it's been a cracked parking lot, water's been seeping through. Are we worried at all about, I'm thinking about the spot that DPW is in. It's not like there's a river or stream right next to it. You got the railroad, I guess, that you could wash out potentially when you have a big flat surface, just catches the water and it flies off. Is there any consideration of mitigating some of the runoff from the lot? Is that part of what this money is paying for? Or is it just like, let's replace it as it is, not taking into consideration kind of that?
Well, putting it back into shape and putting it back to the way it was is going to allow the water to get to the current drainage that's there.
Okay.
It's been put there. That's part of the problem. It just doesn't get to where it's supposed to go anymore. So it's seeping and cracking and that's what's deteriorating the blacktop so quickly now. There is some fairly decent gravel underneath, so I'm not sure we're gonna have to do a lot of removal of clay, so on and so forth, and remediation. We should be able to use mostly what's there, put back in place and regrade and reshape everything to go where it's supposed to go.
All right, anything else? All those in favor? All right, me too. All right, I guess we're at somewhere in here. That's
85, 24,085.
yours is page 85.
No, that's the order though.
Thank you.
107 and the,
Yeah, 3 pages behind. Order number FY 2485. City Council upon recommendation of the mayor in order for cap landfill repairs, move that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of $240,000 for the repair of erosion in multiple areas of the cap landfill as directed by the Department of Environmental Protection. And to meet said appropriation, $240,000 be transferred from Fund 8402 Capital Stabilization. You? I think this kind of goes without saying, if we're under an order from the DEP.
Yep.
Fix it. Should probably do that.
I do want to say, for in-house, our drain crew is probably what would be 250,000 contract if we've done it in-house. The stuff that we do. But you're only allowed certain machinery up there, a lot of it's gotta be handwork, so on and so forth, so. So we have saved quite a bit of money. For ourselves.
Is this a periodical kind of expense where these sort of cap landfills will erode at a, rate? I mean, it's gonna be there forever, right? This big pile of trash. Are we gonna have to come back 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 5?
So what we're seeing now is it's been in place for 40 years and stuff is starting to
You say 4,
40,
40, okay.
35, 40 years. It's been capped. I think it's been about that amount of time, but now everything is starting to break down under the surface, so things are changing. So to your point of the drainage swales and where the water needs to go, that's sloughed in areas because things are settling underneath. And now it's jumping in those swales and it's eroding what we call the mat. So, or the cap, and you can't expose that, it's exposed in a bunch of places. So what it's doing is water is channeling down the side and taking the slopes out rather than channeling it down those rock swales to the proper drainage. And this is something that we got to keep an eye on every year because now it's starting to do its thing. We got to keep a real close eye on it, and we have to make sure we maintain the liner, they call it, on top too. So.
That makes sense.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Me too. All right, order number FY 2486, the city council upon recommendation of the mayor, in order for sandblasting at Poet C Tower, moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of $50,000 for sandblasting at Poet C Tower. That meets that appropriation, $50,000 be transferred from free cash. Welcome. Enjoy the party if you like. Or you can be back there.
Second to this.
Second.
There you go. Thank you.
I am so upset we need to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, and that it costs that much.
I know. I want
Wait.
a sign up there saying, hey, this cost $50,000 to clean last time. Like, I'm not really kidding. Like,
Straight paint will say, don't care.
Well, that's why,
you know,
this is one of my protest votes, and I'm gonna vote no at council, so I'll vote no tonight too, because it just doesn't get wrecked again.
oh, but do you want to let it sit being wrecked forever? Like, this is a tunnel or,
I'm sort of with you, but I'm not gonna go there. But I think that we have to come up with a means to. I don't know if you're gonna prevent it from happening again, but substantial fines, make it perfectly clear that if, you're caught or something to prevent it. I don't, I mean, there's probably a few different ways, but it's like $1,000 fine on somebody.
yeah, no,
CCTV.
seriously, like, have a camera there. And so if somebody comes and tags the camera, at least you have some chance of catching them.
But I think substantial fines are in order because you can't be doing this every 2 or 3 years.
No.
It's just like you say, it's a clean palette to start all over again.
And an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure and all that.
Do we have signs about fines and how much is a sign?
Well, there's littering signs, but there's no vandalism type signs up there.
And Director Mo?
Hello, I can stop them here. So, yeah, this is not the first time that we've had to do this. And I think it was like 2016, 15, maybe we had to do it again. But I really think that, without having constant like surveillance up there, just like the public calling in and the police, then yeah, there's a high risk that it will happen again. There've been internal conversations about putting cameras up there, we have to figure out funding, locations, how we would power them and all that kind of stuff. But it really breaks my heart that it's, gotten to where it is. Like I've had summer staff go up there and paint it, but when it's on the brick, you can't just paint that, it needs to be sprayed off. I'm feeling
That's
not gonna-
stone, most of that's actually stone.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have
Forest, yeah.
my kids like over the railing.
Oh, no.
Doing any of that kind of stuff, and, I mean, people are just really crazy that they face all this property. As far as signs, we are oversigned in our world, in my opinion, but I do think that we could put something up there. I mean, obviously you guys would, figure out what the fees would be. Obviously, I need to talk with, our new chief of police, Dodge, and, see what his thoughts are, but I also know that they are, to be patrolling that area more as well.
And we can make the signs for whatever verbiage you want on that to enforce it,
Yeah,
so, and install them.
I'm all in favor of having a hefty fine, but they have to, like I said, they have to be caught, you know, and I don't know
And
what's
it's harder.
right. And that's a more challenging thing. Like the only thing the cameras will be there when a police, like you watch a police officer go down a one-way street and leave and somebody's waiting, they could just go right after him, And
And then it's usually after the deed is done. That's why substantial fines.
Right.
But, a couple of folks get whacked with,
do we know who did this last one? I mean, did they get?
No, my point is,
Right.
it may end up going away.
Yeah.
People get caught. And if they're underage kids, and parents have to pay that fine and.
Yeah.
It may, maybe have
Whatever we can
a
do.
result.
No, I'm in favor of.
I remember Boston had rolled out this app that for citizens, if they saw something, they could take a photo and it would upload. It's probably super expensive to do something like that, but kind of you see something, send it to us.
Yeah,
Something say so.
yeah, I get lots of emails about, things outside of Potsy Tower of work orders that I need to send over to the DPW. But there's also like, on our website, well, actually, I'm not even sure, Merle, if it's on the new website, like the Click Fix, is that still on the new?
Oh, the Click Fix?
We're still responding to it, so I know
Yeah,
it's
so it must
there.
still be on, so you can take a picture and upload it there from the city's website.
I'm just thinking like the companion would be like you see something, doing something, yes, so. I don't know if it's through the police department, but. And you don't want people reporting on their neighbors, because,
Right.
things get kind of crazy, but how do you
Right.
balance between like, hey, those kids are spray painting, Poetsy.
That's why we get a lot of phone calls or emails anonymously because of that.
But the thing is, you need to identify the culprit.
Right.
Run an electrical conduit up from Beacon Field, I'm sure that's not a cheap thing to do, right up the side of a mountain.
Well, we have the Rocky Mountain water tank.
Oh, right.
Street.
But there's solar.
Well, that's right there.
Yeah, there's a camera up there, no one knows about that.
Well, no, I'm just saying that if, I think cameras are the answer in my opinion. But it's a little bit of an undertaking, when you talk about Wi-Fi or whatever, and you have to put cameras on the inside, it's not gonna grab the Wi-Fi, so we have to work through that piece with IT and Fernando.
And the rec commissioner and I have talked lengthy for years about this, but aesthetically, we want to place the cameras where it's not gonna take away the beauty of the tower.
Sure.
So that's the trick,
Yeah.
Right on the inside, so you can see somebody walking up.
right? But it has to look like it's multiple levels,
Right.
and even on the top.
And a majority of the graffiti's been happening on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
People can't be seen in there, right?
And you want people to see that there's a camera there, so. it's-
Right.
You just put up a fake camera, that's what you just need.
That's actually not the worst idea. Like the people that are in graffiti aren't watching the meeting.
Or we had park
At least it's
rangers, right?
Yeah, park ranger.
A camera that faces the road, so if you see a car go up, you can see their license plate, if damage is done, you at least have that kind of chain of evidence.
The hard thing is though, it's accessible by foot or bike, like.
Yeah.
Right, but you still see something.
And from any area, really, not just the road. But it's gonna pass a couple tomorrow, but it's still gonna be my focus, so.
Okay. I mean, I get it, but it's also such an asset to the city that we can't, let them win by not fixing
Well,
it.
maybe if public becomes a bit more involved and aware, maybe it'll become more of a public issue, so, but we'll see.
All right. So, all those in favor?
Reluctant, aye. Yeah.
And opposed?
I,
And there's nobody left to abstain. All right. Yeah.
can't say like fucking sweet.
Order number FY 24087. On recommendation, city council on recommendation of the mayor in order for Federal Street School elevators, move that it be ordered to appropriate sum of 75,000 for rehabilitation repairs of the North Tower elevator at Federal Street School, and to meet said appropriation, 75,000 be transferred from Fund 8402 capital stabilization.
Second.
Well, this is an obvious safety
It's
issue.
ADA.
It's ADA,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's no question you can't not say.
Yeah.
Good evening, Superintendent. Thanks for hanging on.
Absolutely.
I mean, I could have, yeah. I feel bad now that I kept both you guys hanging around for so
Oh,
long.
that's right. My facilities director, Mike Boudreau, is on as well in case there are technical questions. He's more suited for that than I am.
Well, we were very happy at Capital Improvement Committee to find out that you were able to pull back that $1.3 million request for a full replacement.
It's a small.
Be able to take care of this.
Yes.
Are there any questions from you guys on this order?
Elevator is so expensive. But I don't actually.
I think that's the just general of everything.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
know. I
it's
I
just-
don't need to repeat it.
Block and tackle, a post chair.
Fashion, elevator, wooden
But
brakes.
the elevator's used a lot, correct?
It's used some,
So,
the issue being when it's necessary, if we have someone with limited mobility, staff, student, visitor, family, that tower of Federal Street School is inaccessible. The two towers do not have a connector outside of the ground floor. So right now, for example, if we were to have a family member with limited mobility for parent conferences, we would need to move, or open house, we would need to move the entirety of the classroom down to ground level so that they could access the same experience as others. It's, and I mean, one of the members of Ways and Means already referenced, it's really an ADA issue.
Let's not violate civil rights if we can.
I agree.
does Michael have any dads? Yeah, Michael, you still there?
Mike Boudreau, do you have anything to say?
Yes. Nope,
Say
the other
something, you're on
thing,
vacation.
the other thing also on this is the lunch staff has to carry lunches up 2-3 flights of stairs to every single classroom. So there's a risk of them getting hurt along with the custodial staff carrying their
Sure.
supplies up all 3 floors to clean classrooms and stuff too. So it's that and the ADA.
Gotcha.
All right, as long as we don't have those darn kids playing in the elevator.
That it is not accessible to children without an accompanying adult.
Perfect. Cool.
Okay,
We're confident this is going to be the lasting repair for now. A
For
good
now.
lasting repair.
Mike Boudreau, what did they tell you this could get us in terms of lifespan?
This is strictly for the north elevator and they're saying we could get another 25 years out of this because
Beautiful.
we're
That's like-
replacing everything but the shaft and the actual cab. All the accessories around it are going to be replaced.
Makes it positively.
Wonderful.
25 years.
Don't worry about 25 years from now.
For the one elevator, there is.
For one,
another
yes.
Yes, it's not gonna be able to do that.
But at least we could get this one, we would like to get this one taken care of.
Sure.
Thank
All
you.
right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Me too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Have a good night.
Sorry.
You
for-
as
for so
well.
long.
No problem. Take care.
See you tomorrow.
So we'll see if that.
Oh, yeah, we will. Next week. No. Yeah.
Well, she gets to go first next. week, And Barlow gets the lead round.
Yeah, every Tuesday.
All right. Are we down to this one?
The pages for elevator.
Okay,
It's huge.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's,
all right, order number FY 24088, the city council on recommendation of the mayor, an order for sewer inflow and infiltration repairs and replacement. Move that it be ordered that the sum of 500,000 be appropriated for sewer inflow and infiltration repairs and replacement identified in the Wright Pierce Sewer System Evaluation Survey. And to meet said appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is hereby authorized to borrow said sum of 500,000 pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 8, or any other enabling statute, and the mayor is hereby authorized to apply for, contract for, accept, and expend any federal and or state grants available for this project to be used to reduce the within appropriation. And further, the mayor is authorized to take any action necessary to carry out the intent and purpose of these projects.
And
Just a question, because maybe I don't know the subsections.
There we are.
Why would I? Did I not know this earlier? The other one subsect was section 7. Is this a different, do you know, Mayor, if this is a different reason? Or is, I just didn't know if it was maybe a typo.
Oh,
million.
you're talking about the Mass General Law.
Yeah. How that's not something we can pick it up. Okay. Brilliant. Thanks. And of course, I'm not gonna find the one that, the other one that was borrowing now, so, you know. Yeah. Any hoodles,
It's gonna be done, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
We're legally required to.
What are the opportunities? It mentions grants, so is there a good chance that we can get other monies to help subsidize this?
Yeah, we're currently, or have applied for grants to help us with the I issues. We don't know the status yet. I've been working with Athena quite regularly on different things to try and find ways of funding I. I itself, inflow and infiltration, it doesn't have as many funding opportunities as like, plant wastewater treatment plant rebuilds and stuff like that. Or money that they give monies for adding the sewer, so on and so forth. But we think we've got some pretty good opportunities, and honestly, the couple of grants we're working on slips my mind right now that I've been working with Athena on and through the mayor, of course. So we're kind of hitting the reset button now. We put $1.8 million into this, and the $5.45 million that was estimated from Wright Pierce is almost 4 years old now. So I'm guessing off the top of my head, we're looking at 7 or 8 million. Plus, we've come across some things didn't show up in the report. I'm sure you've seen it on the news and whatever. We've had some sewer collapses. We've had to go in and repair an emergency, just the most recent on Wells Street. So we're in the process of signing a contract to do some more flow testing and investigating, kind of backing up on part of the system, because we feel that we may have some problems that have arisen since we started this from the original evaluation. We're 5-6 years into this, 7 years into it. We have other pipes that are 7 years old, approaching 100 years old. So it's kind of this cycle, we're chasing it. And we're trying to chase this down every day and get as much out of the system as we can. So.
I have a question, you may be able to give a rough estimate too. Is there like a way to figure, do you have a rough idea how much water we're losing through the whole pipes on a daily basis? I mean, it's the most.
Drinking water?
Yeah, drinking water.
Oh, it just came out in the consumer CCR. It's on its way out in the mail to all the consumers now. 1 million on an average day, plus drinking water use. Obviously we're talking sewer here, but.
Right.
good news is our unaccounted water is down to 11%. It was at 24% a couple of years ago. The new meters are now accurate, and they're doing some more accurate reading to report to DEP, EPA, so. A little off topic, we got into drinking water, but I figured I would answer the question.
It's a lot of gallons.
Yeah. I, don't quote me on 1.8, but I can get you the answer. I just, a lot of numbers today, and I can't remember that one.
Thanks.
And I assume you're looking at like bigger pipes, given that with everything, we're having larger flows coming through.
Yes, I mean, that's what the evaluations do, because you could have a lot of 6-inch pipes that have a serious inflow and infiltration problem, all flooding into the bigger pipes. So you kind of got to go almost back to the smallest pipe, or from the biggest one back, if you will. For flow testing, now is a good time to do it. We're getting plenty of rain, so we can see very large spikes in the flow testing, and we can earmark it down in the reports to certain sections of the city, and then work our way back. It kind of gives us a starting point.
This is effectively leaky pipes, like that's, you know,
Yeah.
pipes that can let stuff in, pipes that are like.
Inflow is illegal connections, stuff like that. Infiltration is water table getting into the pipes. They're not sealed, they're cracked. The old clay tile pipes are, there's a lot of open joints out there we've had to repair. That's why we've done the lining, putting a pipe in a pipe, which is much more inexpensive than digging every pipe up and replacing it.
Easy you can do.
So, yeah, the 100-year-old pipes, they're just sections of pipe butted together, and they're almost 100 years old, so they're moving, they're deteriorating, cracking, just from hydraulic pressure now over the years in our clay soils we have.
This entire, capital set of requests strikes me as stuff that if we had done a maintenance cycle that was a little bit more frequent, it wouldn't quite be as much money based on, even just like maybe increases in the last couple of years. So I'm glad to see that we're investing in things that are not seen by folks, but have an impact on, the city's finances, and also just how much sewer water we're pouring into the water table, things like that,
I think you raise a big topic right there as to at least some of the questions that I've seen in the last few years is, certain folks will look at like this list of things that get brought by a lot of different departments. And then, we're always trying to use that very easy thing of like needs versus wants.
Right.
And sometimes I've heard things like, sometimes you see a truck come up, you're like, well, do you really need that? And it's like, well, now I do. I wanted it like 15 years ago, and you said no for 15 years. Now I need it. And it's, we're sitting here, sadly, not even just DPW, but other departments do have some that are really old trucks for municipal purposes. They're not, if you can squeeze 250,000 miles out of your 20-year-old car and pass inspection, still great. But that doesn't really happen when you're doing infrastructure stuff or public safety and I think a lot of, like you're saying, a lot of these kind of preventive maintenance schedules had been gone by the wayside for one reason or another. Decisions, money, all that stuff.
Rose problem.
Yeah,
Well,
sometimes it feels that.
if I may, I'll just share a few things we talk about in my DPW world when I meet with other directors and stuff. And, you go back 40, 50 years, there wasn't a problem with our systems. It was out of sight, out of mind. It was under the ground, no problems, no press on it, no nothing. But go back in the day, water sewer rates were stagnant. They weren't increased a couple pennies a year or anything like that. So there was no retained earnings, if you will, set aside. So when you run into problems, or a good, say, 20-year replacement plan. These pipes are 75 years old or 70, we got to replace these many pipes in the next 20 years, and here's the money, we saved it up. Greenfield's not the only community in this. It's human nature, out of sight, out of mind from 50 years ago. Now that we have the problem, we have to talk about it. We have to fix it, right? Especially under new regulations. I'm sure you all have seen or heard on the phone the SSOs that we put out. We have to put them out to the public by law now, and it's a good thing. Sanitary sewer overflow.
Right.
The regulator chamber. We don't want to put an ounce out in the river, but that chamber's there as a protective measure for the wastewater treatment plant. We didn't have the overflow. It would shut the plant down. It would blow the plant out, we call it. It would break things, so much water coming in, and then we're putting millions of gallons a day into the river, everything into the river rather than an overflow. That's why that was designed and built that way. My goal is we want to break that off at some point and don't have this problem. So I didn't mean to get long-winded about it, but it's stuff that keeps us up at night.
Yeah.
I don't like getting reverse 911 send on that. That's
Right. All right. All those in favor?
All right.
You too. Weird. Weird.
Look at that, lovely.
Echo.
FY 24-089, the city council upon recommendation of the mayor in order to replace backhoe number 185, move that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 195,000 to replace backhoe number 185 and to meet said appropriation, 195,000 be transferred from FY 24 sewer retained earnings.
Good. Now, even though Mike just made a great speech, how old is this backhoe?
20 years.
Oh, it's 21.
And how many do we have?
We have two backhoes, one in the water department, one in the sewer department. Had to share quite a bit last summer because that's what that one looked like on the shop. It's not, with some very expensive repairs.
Nothing a little paint can't fit.
No, nothing.
And what-
That rear axle was a $10,000 repair. You're looking at right there alone. So
Just for the hundreds who are watching online, what is the backhoe used for?
our sewer collections grew. We just talked about I&I. They do repairs. They do catch basin repairs. Like I said, emergency digs. We are responsible for the service line from the main to the curb or the property line. We have to repair a bunch of those. So all our excavation needs, and it's also used in the winter for snow removal. One of our machines to remove snow from.
Is that 10,896 hours?
Yes.
Holy crap. Well,
So this is really a need, Director, right? This is not a want. This is pretty much a need for you.
It's kind of a have to have.
Well, you know,
I mean, the good thing about where it's coming from too is these are retained earnings from our sewer rates that are
I saw that.
paying to
That's-
keep
that's helpful.
our sewer department functioning.
Everything else. That's for water.
All right, and all those in favor?
I,
Right.
So when are you gonna get a new lawnmower? How many million miles are on that Toro?
Geez, the hours, yeah. Hours. When we ordered that last year, when it was appropriated, they told us 1 year. It's gonna be 1 year next month, and I think they were saying 13 to 14 months now. They had to build
In
it.
addition? Oh, just
No,
So
add-
it's
add
delayed a couple months.
more months, but you used to be able to order it and you have it within a few weeks because they had them on the lot, but
Right.
supply and demand. You know, large dump trucks are a year out, we're longer right now. So. The backhoe is free available, is what I was told the other day.
All right, as mentioned earlier. Part two, order number FY 24-090. The city council upon recommendation of the mayor, in order for rehabilitation paving of the DPW yard, moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 150,000 for rehabilitation of the paved lot, at the Department of Public Works yard at 209 Wells Street, and to meet said appropriation, 150,000 be transferred from sewer retained earnings. Any discussion on this second, third of the?
council rules question. This is a 7-vote threshold, whereas one of the last ones was a 9-vote threshold.
Yeah.
Dollar amounts? I don't.
No, it's where it's coming from.
Oh, so if it's.
So it's like anything out of stabilization, we need 2/3 votes.
Okay. So stabilization is like a lockbox, more like.
Yeah.
It's like 2 votes.
Not really, no. Yeah.
Is it the same threshold to transfer money into free cash into the stabilization?
No,
It's just 7,
simple majority to put it in, but
9.
super majority to take it out. Right?
out of a stabilization.
To go in is simple majority, to go out is super majority. Correct?
Out of, may I? Yeah, to come out of capital, like to come out of capital.
You mean that.
stabilization.
Right.
To come out of capital stabilization, the law changed in December. That's why the orders were changed. We received updated orders because it used to be last year we voted on everything, it was 9 votes to get something out of a special purpose stabilization vote.
Now it's 7 again?
Now,
Oh,
yes, it's been 9 for years. It is still 9 votes to take something from the general stabilization account. But you had updated orders in here,
okay.
and the purpose for the updated order was because the first set of orders
Oh, was
was
right,
9 votes, but this
Right.
just takes 7.
right. Okay, borrowing's the other one that takes 2/3.
Yeah, borrowing
Borrowing
takes 2/3, and I haven't answered to the Mass General Law one.
Yep.
So this is good news from your perspective.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's, I'm glad it's a simple
Yeah.
majority to get it out.
Yeah.
I can see both sides of it, but I am, it's not, it won't hold it up. And we generally spending this on good things that departments need. They come forward, it has several, several stages where people are looking at it. But and if we have general law, section 8 has to do water quality. That's why I just read the law.
Oh, straight from that, okay,
Yes.
gotcha. That's funny. All right.
Well, this is basically the same discussion we already had.
Mhm. And all those in favor?
I,
Me too. Order number FY 24091, the city council upon recommendation of the mayor in order for water main replacement. Moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 300,000 to replace water main on Main Street and to meet said appropriation, 300,000 be transferred from FY 24 water retained earnings.
Sounds kind of important.
Yeah, a little bit.
Especially when they explode all the
Kind of what they're there for, right?
I lived on Conway Street. We didn't have water for a minute. Our landlord put a garden hose from the neighboring house into ours, and then we moved. It was a disaster. The DPW actually showed up and gave us one of the ones that wasn't lead solder on the ends, which was awesome. Yeah, appreciate it.
Down the street from Conway and Allen exploded, so.
And probably when I was living there. So, yeah.
There's been a lot of explosions in my 26 years,
Yeah.
if that's what we're gonna call it.
I mean, again, dramatic language I tend to lean towards.
All right, all those in favor?
I,
Aye as well. All righty,
Pretty close here, folks.
getting close.
So appreciate that it's a larger water main for future housing growth.
Yeah, it's currently a 4-inch. It goes from Chapman Street to Coleraine Street. The standard period is 8-inch, nothing less than a 6-inch today. Obviously, the 4-inch, there's 3 water mains on Main Street. To fight a fire, they're not gonna hook to this 4-inch, even though it's got hydrants on it. They're not gonna get the water they need. That's part of it, the fire protection down there on the Main Street also. You got large buildings, you got, the streets out behind McGovern, so on and so forth. So it'll also add for future expansion if we need to add to the water main too. We'll have the capacity. It's a very expensive project, and I just may want to note that I have an additional financial ordering for next month to give us enough money for this whole project. It's a very expensive project because it's highly labor intensive. I mean, it's gonna be like literally an erectors trying to install pipes going down Main Street. There's so much infrastructure under the ground. So labor increases, time increases, materials increase. So this has got a pretty big price tag on it, but it also dovetails on the Main Street project.
I was just asking that question. Yeah.
We already lined the sewers. The other water mains were in pretty good shape. We did some repairs and lined some drainage. So this was the last piece that we felt we absolutely need to change. it's gotta be done. And all that expense comes out of us on that Main Street project, anything under the ground. So they call it in-kind services. But we're contracting this out separately this summer to get it done. Because part of the $1.05 million of this project is we got a $250,000 earmark from the state. And we have a deadline on using that, and I don't want to lose $250,000. So we felt this year was the time. I know we're gonna disrupt Main Street, but again, we don't want to take another $250,000 out of us if we got it coming to us free. And I think I put that in the packet this time. Agreement somewhere.
No matter what you do, you gotta disrupt Main Street. Something doesn't bad.
Yeah, yeah. The one good thing is it's going down the north side. It's not down the middle of the road or whatever, so.
Shift the other line. It's cool.
So
We got plenty of parking.
to be, when we did see the parking study there, you said that this will help contribute to the tip, is that what it's called? So this is an in-kind contribution to the Main Street redesign, so this would.
If we had put the water main in the Main Street project, we would have had to pay, it would have been bid for the Main Street project. They would have done the project. But since we got the earmark, we got on this early because we get free $250,000 towards this project rather than wait till 27 to 29 for the Main Street project. It goes up.
I'm glad we're doing it now.
Mayor has a hand up.
So I just wanted to say that this and the last one, it's really good. Milo's done a great job over the years building up those retained earnings so that we can pay some of this for the retained earnings, which is, you know,
What's for?
like fabulous.
Good for you.
That's what's nice to pay out of the savings account and then to borrow and try and keep our water sewer rates down as much as we possibly can.
That's good balance. All right, so last part of this job here is order number FY 24-092. The city council upon recommendation of the mayor in order to repurpose $124,552.78 for water main replacement. Moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of $124,552.78 for water main replacement and to meet said appropriation of $124,552.78 be repurposed from the accounts detailed below. 4917.4990.5840 borrowed rehab Rocky Mountain tank, $38,577. 4918.4990.5840. What was it?
Retained earnings.
Oh, just retained earnings. Okay, from the SCADA system. $80,566.69. 4919.4990.5840 borrowed Green River sand filters, $2,055.40. 4919.4990.5842. Retained earnings, Millbrook well reconditioning, $3,353.69.
Seconded.
Go. Any questions?
Or just a dumb question. Why were two borrowed and two retained?
That was an initial project.
It was that we have a Rocky Mountain tank was a very big project, up to million, it was over $1 million.
All right.
Just saying where it came from.
Yeah.
Originally.
Originally.
Yeah, so we already borrowed the 30
Sure.
grand, just moving it.
Sure.
So you're just cobbling together from different accounts.
Right.
Yeah.
And every year I try and clean up the accounts because it shortens the list and it gives everybody a better view, including myself, of what I really need for the up and coming project.
It makes me read all those little numbers though.
Yeah. It's very considerate of you.
Well, like borrowing, once you borrow the full amount for a project, if I remember correctly, you have to repurpose it. You can't rescind it because we've already got the money. Right. So.
So that's an important piece for me to know. That's what I was trying to figure out. I was asking you where we are, just, trying to figure out all those things. What you can carry over, what you have to spend, what you have to,
Got $38,577 there and it just sitting there. We borrowed it and we can't do nothing with it but repurpose. So, and when you repurpose something, it has to be in like kind.
Right.
Like the life of a project,
Right.
20 years, 30 years. You don't repurpose vehicle money. It just doesn't work.
It's maybe a silly question too, but could you take that remaining borrowed money used to do a pay down on the principal on the remaining part of the loan? Like, is that?
I think that was brought up earlier. We get the bond premiums that we pay off. We get bond premiums for the borrowing. So I don't think you can, I'm not sure, 100% sure, but I don't think you can use borrowed money to pay off that. No.
It's like running a credit card to pay off the loan, you know, it's.
Retained earnings, we can rescind retained earnings and put it back in the retained earnings account. But since it was sitting there, I brought everything together that I could find to come up with that figure towards the water main project. And I put all these pots of money together and figured out the rest of what I need.
Well, and it saves us an additional vote after that, because we would have had to move it back to retain, and then you end up finding you're gonna need it anyway.
Oh, something come up this month, the next month I gotta put in the order and I need the money back.
Right.
So.
All right, all those in favor? Two, weird. All right, last one. Part 3, order number FY 24093. The city council, on recommendation of the mayor, in order for rehabilitation paving of the DPW yard, moves that it be ordered to appropriate the sum of 150,000 for rehabilitation of the paved lot at the Department of Public Works yard at 209 Wells Street. And to meet said appropriation, 150,000 be transferred from water retained earnings. I really hope there's no more discussion on this one.
No, we already made the points.
I can.
You want to keep going? All those in favor?
It's so hard on that roadside. mower.
Yeah.
Council.
Well,
Well, I hope it goes as smoothly tomorrow night for you.
yeah.
I mean, all this stuff makes sense, you know, it's a.
I mean, I gotta say, I think this is pretty decent, altogether capital plan that's coming together. I'm hopeful that we're able to do more later in the year. But, you know, I think it was a good start compared to what was, you know, already approved, well, I shouldn't say approved, recommended by the capital improvement committee, for this time of year on getting things done that are more necessity, time wise and such. All right, so our next meeting is not correct on here. Our next meeting is actually,
April 30th.
April 23rd at 5:30, right here in City Hall Meeting Room, second floor in a Zoom hybrid. The one on here is listing our next normal meeting, which is next month, which I think is also gonna have a different day by then anyway. But yeah, so that's our next meeting. 5:30 is the change there. We're usually at 6. All right, with that, I would take a motion to adjourn. We got, one. And all those in favor? Aye. Thank you. You're adjourning this meeting at 7:43 PM.